Alright, so first step, we will take the air filter and the air inlet off, and then we'll get under the hood and show you what's going on. Even though nothing has really changed, but show you what's going on with this thing. I always keep a little flathead screwdriver in there so I can change that out at any time. I may have allegedly borrowed this no name brand cheap, probably Harbor Freight screwdriver from Eric, allegedly, and never returned it. But you didn't hear that. Take that off real quick. This is nothing fancy, just a silicone elbow with a metal sleeve in there, and then an adapter to adapt it to this Turbo Guard air filter. This is what I run every day, especially when it's dusty, because I do care about this engine a little bit. On other days, I do run this custom one, which isn't the greatest for filtration. Does keep the leaves out. Definitely not good for when it's raining, even though driving this thing in the rain sucks anyway because it leaks water so bad. But the only reason I made this custom one, just the screen, this used to be a BBK, or not BBK, K&N, yeah, K&N air filter, and it was a really long Fox body one. You can see maybe how it's kind of angled. This was a Fox body filter, and I had this off, and one day Jake came to borrow the truck to drive it somewhere, or one night, and it was on the ground. I guess he kicked it out or something, and he ran it over and flattened it like a pancake. So then I made this, which is nothing fancy, just some screens, some RTV, and some screws. This is really for at the track, but sometimes I use it when it's wet out and not dusty, even though it's not good for it, but whatever. Just a borrowed engine, so let's pop the hood on this unit and give you a look underneath. Basically, still the same setup, nothing's really changed. Stock 7.3 turbo, 90s model, even got the factory split, just got one end capped off. Manual boost controller, budget eBay blow off valve, and a knockoff, I think it's a knockoff tile wastegate. Oh yeah, and it's even got the gold paint residue still on it from Eric, and it's still kind of all over everything. For some reason that guy just likes gold spray paint. I don't know why, but put this breather system on it not too long ago. Nothing crazy, just an eBay or Amazon model. Not even the right hose, but it works for now, just to help with the blow by vapors instead of leaking all over the valve covers. Still got the Phytech on it right now. MSD distributor, Ford wires. Gotta replace this belt pretty soon, it's not looking too hot. One wire alternator. Oh yeah, it's actually a dual post battery. It's side post and top post. That's one thing I like about this AC Delco battery. It's got both of them on it. Still got the heat shield because the exhaust is pretty close to the battery. Definitely a little sketchy. I mean, so is this, but that's been on there since day one. Still got the factory throttle cable. That's not the best either. I might change that. Still got the water methanol on it from Snow Performance Kit, but I think I'm gonna have to get rid of that anyway. I mean, this thing still doesn't have an intercooler. There's like no room. The current setup. Just got a cheap fan on there. I put in that little fuse block not too long ago just to try and clean it up a little bit. Try and clean some of this stuff up more, and all these connectors and stuff. Try and cut out some more wires. I want to get rid of this conduit. This cheap conduit and this cheap tape, it just doesn't last. It just crumbles. So I bought the better stuff for it this time. Right now it's just budget AN lines, and these were just synthetic rubber, but I guess the ethanol got to it because it just sprung a leak right here in between, and it was just coming out and going down. So it's gonna have all new fuel lines anyway. They need to be done. And this time I bought the PTFE stuff that's rated for E85, so hopefully this stuff will last longer. Just want to try to keep this thing more on the budget side instead of spending so much money on everything else, and just try and keep the money for the good stuff like the Holley, the MSD, the water methanol. Still behind the seat. Still got the kit behind the seat, but not sweating it with this thing. One day when it gets a built motor down the road and a better trans, then we'll start spending more money into better equipment. But for now, I'm gonna try and keep a budget. I mean, I'm still running the original cracked windshield. I mean, still haven't replaced it. Still running the same tires too. Well, those tires I put on there a couple years ago, but these tires are still original from when Jake gave me these wheels. My game plan is to remove all the FI tech, remove all the fuel lines, cut some of the wiring out, install the Holley EFI sniper system, and then clean up some of the wiring, and then I guess last I'll probably plumb everything. So I gotta make sure I don't need any more fittings. Do the fuel lines last so I can take my time and route everything nicely. I gotta run the new fuel lines. I got a 10 micron filter I gotta mount on the frame post fuel pump, so somewhere on the frame like where the other one is. Holley wants a 10 micron filter, fine filter, so gonna install that, and then gotta figure out what I'm mounting the fuel pressure regulator. So Holley wants the feed line with the filter running all the way to the throttle body, straight to the throttle body, and then the regulator on the outlet. So you can either put it on the outlet or put it somewhere on the return side, basically. So I gotta figure out whether I'm gonna mount it right to the throttle body, which I don't know, or mount it somewhere. Maybe. It's not a regular mounting one, it's kind of weird. I have to show it to you, but gotta mount it somewhere on the return side. So that's the plan. Probably keep the same fuel pump for now because it shouldn't be a problem. It was pretty big sized fuel pump, way more than what this thing needs. And yeah, get the Holley stuff on there and go from there.